See, yay, we are recording. This is the Nikken Women Creating Wealth Call. Thank you so much for being on. It's August 29th, almost the end of the month. We are so excited with all the changes that are happening in Nikken, and I know that you all can feel it, just like I can feel it. It's what's so amazing about energy is that you can feel it shifting long before you might see immediate results. Sometimes you'll see immediate results, but sometimes it just takes a little time to catch up. But when the energy in the field is really empowered, and don't just mean the Nikken field, I mean the universal field, it's super exciting. And so this call is just on leadership and on unleashing leadership power. And I'm going to bring you guys in, different people in, just to speak to this, because it's certainly not something I want to speak to alone. So we're going to have Barbara Joseph. I'm going to pull in Sherry Danzig if she's up for it, Randy Rolfe, and maybe a couple of others, Maggie and McGee. So I'm excited about this because, and I loved what you wrote so beautifully. We talked about this a little bit, and then Barbara wrote up a fabulous little piece, and so I wrote out what she said, and it was so well said. She says, "No more holding back. Unleashing your leadership power. It's time to let yourself go and trust your brilliance. It's time to raise your vibration, get clarity, take action, and build your dream business," which of course is why we're here, to build our dream business for ourselves, for others, for the world. And so we're going to talk a little bit about, I'm reading this book, I hope you are too, that Dave Johnson has recommended, The Transformative Leader by Amir Ganad. And I'm sure you've heard his talk where he was interviewed by Dave Johnson just recently. And that's a wonderful talk. If you haven't heard it, oh yeah, could you mute your lines? Actually, I can mute your lines if you want me to. I can do that, mute all. I forgot. So this will help, and then you can unmute when I call you in. That'll be great. Okay, jolly good. Great. Okay, super. So if you haven't heard that interview, do go listen to it. I know there's a lot right now. We have a lot of people doing great calls. Bernadette did a wonderful call yesterday that I listened to late last night. But this one also was very powerful. And what I love about what he's saying in this book, which I totally believe with all my heart and mind and soul, is that we are already naturally leaders. We're already vibrant, brilliant, and wonderful. And the question is just that things get in the way. We end up, sometimes with false beliefs that get us in the way, that say, oh, no, I'm not, and no, I don't, and no, I can't, and all of that. And that's just like obfuscates the truth of who we actually really are. And then we put on some kind of false veneer over the top of that because we don't want people to think, oh, I don't really think that much of myself. So we put on another false veneer over the top of that. So he's talking about like 3 layers. The first layer is the true layer of your brilliance. The second layer is all the things you think you're not good at or whatever. And then the third layer is your sort of veneer or facade that you put out to the world to kind of hoodwink the world to think that you think you're okay when actually there's these beliefs in the way. So we talk a lot about this in Nikken. It's not new, but we're at such an exciting time right now with all these changes happening. And, the focus back on energy. I can't tell you how much I love the blogs that are coming out from Nikken, the advertising, Randy's, nodding her head. That it's like that's what makes Nikken so great. And it's not that the weight loss program isn't great, weight management program, whatever. All those things are fabulous and we all need them. But what makes us truly, truly phenomenal product-wise is our energy technology. So, but this is about this key. What he's talking about is to look at, how do we complete with the past, get really present, and really imagine a future, vision a future that's very exciting. And he talks a lot about what we teach in Nikken, which is that we start with the end in mind. So somebody asked me the other day on a coaching call, maybe I'll start with the end in mind, as in, silver. I'm like, if you start with silver as the end in mind, you're going to attract customers and you're going to attract maybe some executives, hopefully. If you start with gold in mind, you'll attract people who are more at the silver vibration level, because you'll always attract what's probably just a little less than what you're imagining in terms of their abilities. But if you start with the end in mind of diamond or royal diamond, you're going to attract platinums and other diamonds and royal diamonds. And hopefully we attract people that are far better than us. We want people that are better than us. That's really fun when you have somebody way, way better. So it's important to really think about that future vision and what you want to attract in. Who are you looking for? Because the key to a successful Nikken business are the leaders. It's all about leadership, because a few leaders in your team will make your business sing for themselves and for you as well as a result. And yes, you'll help and coach, but you want to attract those high vibration people that really do have a sense of remembering how brilliant they naturally are without any ego. It's not about ego. To know the truth of who you are is that you're an amazing, beautiful, spiritual being having a human experience. That's not an ego thing. The ego gets in the way saying, no, I'm not, no, I can't, and who am I? And, you know, and that's the ego. So don't be confused there between those two. And that's a big thing I learned in macrobiotics, was that actually there are two kinds of ego problems and arrogance. And one is yin arrogance and one is yang arrogance. And yang arrogance is I'm better than you, and yin arrogance is I'm not as good as you. And either of them are ego arrogances. So we're individuals, we're perfect in our own self, and you know, nobody's like Marianne, and nobody's like Randy Rolfe, nobody's like Sherry, nobody's like Julie, nobody's like Louise Coe, nobody's like Barbara Joseph. You are unique in your brilliance, and the key is to bring your gifts forward, and that's how we're fulfilled in life. So when you know somebody's about to really take off and do this thing, and you can just feel they're, oh my gosh, look at them, they're building up and they're gonna go now, or they're already going, and you can feel it. You really can feel it. You can absolutely know when somebody is really gonna do what they say they're gonna do and go the distance and reach the goal they've set. You can feel it long before the result gets there, because that the result is the result of them doing that. So I have a consultant right now, and she's building up and she's getting going and she's getting going. You can feel it, and you're like, watch out, world. This woman is unleashing herself as we speak, you know, and it's happening. And I know that she will go that distance. I know that she will be going gold and platinum and diamond and royal diamond, because she's unleashing herself. She's willing to let go and really let God, let go, let the universe move through you, because that's when we're at our best. So I want to ask you 3 questions, and think about this, and I'm going to ask different people to speak on it. And you know, we'll mind the time. We have 20 minutes or so. So the first is given that we know that it's just what holds us back, that holds us back, our own beliefs and whatever, what is the main thing that holds you back from really unleashing your energy? Because if you're going to be successful in this, you're going to have to let the cat out of the bag. You're going to have to unleash that fabulous energy that's within you. And so what is the one thing that holds you back primarily? Is it you don't want to look stupid? You don't want to be rejected? In England, you know, we're taught to be seen and not heard. So we have a lot of stuff around that, you know, or don't toot your own horn, or, you know, so we have all those beliefs that we learned very clearly as kids, like, you know, don't speak unless you're spoken to, all these things. So what is it, the main thing that holds you back? There may be several things underneath that, but there's probably an underpinning belief that something terrible will happen if you unleash yourself. But I can promise you great things will happen. And some people may not like it, and that's all right. That's all right. Sometimes family members are like, who are you now, you know? But you're excited, and you're moving things forward, and you're going to make things happen. Then the second question is, how will you feel when you unleash your power? Really unleash your power. And I mean your real spiritual power, like that kind of power you need when you birth a baby. That kind of power. We all know about that. Sherry's like, oh yeah, because she's a doula, and she knows what kind of power a woman needs to get the job done. And we have this immense power within us that we never knew we had. And the third question is, what results will you get? What results will you get in your life? What results are you going to get when you actually are willing to let go and make stuff really happen? Make a big wave. Be an influence. Be a transformative leader. Have vision and getting it out there through it can be listening to. It's not just speaking by any means. So those are the 3 major questions. And And so I'm going to ask my lovely friend Barbara first if she would speak to this, because she and I were talking about it the other day. So Barbara, how does this come to you? What are the kind of immediate hits that you get, your intuitive hits?
Yeah, and even though we talked about it, I didn't know that you were going to ask me 3 specific questions. So I don't want anybody to think I've got a leg up on them.
No.
So the beliefs that hold me back, a lot of things you said are very true. Being raised to be quiet, to not speak up, to not share my ideas. I really didn't get that experience until I was an adult. And I had a wonderful reminder of that. This is what I kind of shared with Julie, that I was actually speaking to a younger wellness consultant, and we were talking, I was telling her changes that are happening in our team and in Nikken, and my excitement and my commitment, because I feel like I'm exploding with all of the energy that's happening and learning from all of the different leaders and from outside sources, but learning to take it in and make it mine and my personality and my unique way. And she was saying some things which were her ways of limiting herself. And granted, she has a lot on her plate. And so I started saying, well, do I have permission? And I coached all around it and then got to the core. And I said, well, how was that for you? And she said, you could have been more direct. I understood what you were going to say before you got there. So again, it's being able to just say, hey, here I am. This is who I am. This is what I want to say, and be really clear about it. So I think that's what holds me back. Not necessarily in life, but more in my Nikken business, because I feel in life that I really do shine and let that out for people to see. But in Nikken, I've kind of played with it, like, what are people going to think? And I'm all over that. And again, another thing happened with that yesterday, running into a consultant and seeing her, and she's thinking of becoming a customer. And when I wanted to tell her about a call, I could see her totally shut down. And I said, it's okay. I just want to share this with you. There doesn't have to be any discomfort. I know you're not interested yet. You may know someone who is. So anyway, when I do unleash my power, I feel fantastic. I mean, I'm just full of love and light and joy and exquisiteness. And I just respect and appreciate everyone. And I don't take anything personally. So I'm flying. And when I do that, there's like no stopping. And I can have those dreams and desires that I want in my Nikken business for the financial part and transforming the world in more ways than I do just as being my human being on my own. So it's a win-win situation, and it feels absolutely awesome. And I'm really glad to be partnered with all of us to have that quickening happen. And it is very palpable.
And that is a perfect word, the quickening. That's well said. And you are vibrant today. I will just tell you, your energy is great. You look fantastic. You're just bright. And it feels like you're really willing to kind of step into your business fully and move it, move it where it needs to go and wants to go, where you want it to go.
That is what's happening, Julie. Very much so.
And I'm sure everyone else can sort of feel that with all of us, when we go through these phases, we hide out for a while. We all do it. And then we come forward and we're like, nope, I'm here and I'm ready to play and I'm going to play. And here I am playing on the field, So it's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I love that word quickening, because we talk about that with a baby when we first, feel the movements, right? The quickening. And it's so beautiful. And I think that's just great. I think you've said everything I asked for. So let's, thank you so much. And let's move to Sherry Danzig. Sherry, you've been an amazing, amazing example for all of us. This last year, you've been rocking it. You always rock it, but this last year, you've just been a dynamo, and in the last couple of years. So tell us those, if you can, come to those 3 questions, and just what are the things that hold you back, and what happens when you let it go as you are right now, and what kind of results do you see?
Great, thanks. I hope that I won't get interrupted, but I might. I'm waiting for a guy to come and work in my house. So
okay,
hopefully he won't come right now.
Yeah.
It's a constant thing. The thing that has held me back continues to pop its little ugly head at times, which is that little voice that says you're not enough. And so I am, I feel like I always support myself when I start my day with a meditation, and I surround myself with people that hold me accountable for the kind of, the energy that I hold, and um, the beliefs that I hold in myself. And so, I certainly have learned a lot about that, and I move through those, that negativity much quicker than I used to, but I don't know if it'll ever, completely go away. But
Yeah.
what I have found is that the messages that I would tell myself, the only way that you move through it is by challenging it. So my big thing for a long time was to hide, because I was afraid to speak. I was afraid that my voice, that I couldn't hold the energy that I wanted to speak. And so I joined National Speakers Association and am on a training program this year. And I started out, last year saying I was scared when I spoke, and now I'm like, not that you're not nervous, but I realize I'm really not all that scared anymore. So it's that, I know that I faced that years ago. I mean, years and years ago, I was in a different sales position, and I was so scared to pick up the phone that if anybody walked in, I would hang up, even in the middle of a call, and so, I got really good now at doing cold calls, and now I feel pretty fearless. But it was because I did it over and over again, and I was okay. I got okay with not being so perfect, so my new mantra is perfectly imperfect. So, that has really, what has held me back is this, those little voices that talk to us and tell us, we're not enough. And so, and I had a great experience yesterday with a consultant who she's been challenged. It's been challenging for me. And she said, when we were meeting yesterday, she said, I thought you were mad at me. And I got so clear in that moment, and I didn't think about it, before, but I looked at her, I held her hand, and I said, I believe in you. And I see a phenomenal future with you. And, it was such a connection, and she's on fire now. I mean, she is like, we're doing a Zoom with Mike later on today about her coming to Toronto, and her inviting all these people that I think she needed that permission to really jump into her spirit, and her excitement. Because I really do see her as an amazing leader. She's from Ecuador. So, how does that feel? It felt amazing for me yesterday, walking away from that appointment. I feel like, there was some fear that was keeping me in a place of, there was some energy around, what she wasn't doing. And I think that is so important, is that it's so easy to, the way people respond, that we can take it personally, right? We think it's a reflection of us. And I think I'm learning to understand people, their timing is their timing, and we have to take responsibility for our own timing, regardless of what anyone else is going to do. And so it's been such a lesson for me to get really focused on what it's going to take, what I need to do. Yeah. And the more focused I am and the clearer I am, the easier that is to stay in that energy. So it feels amazing. I feel empowered. I feel excited. I feel creative. I feel like, truly the providence is moving. I had a woman who I've been talking to since last year, like I think in December. She was interested in the sleep system. And yesterday she called me to order it, gave me her credit card. She's never seen it. Somebody told her, another customer told her about it. So That's where I think, Providence is simply moving. So that's pretty exciting.
That's very exciting. And the results that you've been getting have been amazing. You're on Team Kaizen, and you went to Japan, and you've been on a lot of great calls, and really your speaking has just been fantastic. So how would you describe your results? And then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, I think that I think, I feel this, I think we all have this. It's a wonderful thing to feel like you have a clear voice that you want to share. It's your mission, it's your passion, your love, and it feels amazing. And I think to be able to continue to stretch the boundaries of being able to speak. And for me, it is, I'm launching a speaking career where it's, I claim as myself as a wellness expert and a happiness expert, and about personal empowerment. And I want to have bigger and bigger stages. And I think it all brings back to, my vision with Nikken and empowering the world. And, we're inspiring people to be empowered. So it's an amazing thing to stay in that vibration. I love it.
I love it too. Thank you so much. It's great to have you on. I'm so glad you could be on, because I know it's hard for you. And,
I almost have a Wednesday conflict. And today I didn't go to this luncheon. So I was like, I can be on this call.
Yeah, that's so great. Thank you so much, Sherry. That's super. I'm going to go on to, time goes by so fast. It's amazing. But Maggie, are you there, Maggie? I saw you earlier. Now I can't seem to find you on here.
I'm here.
Yeah, great. There you go, Maggie. Now, I'm just thinking about when I came up to Vancouver, and we had such an amazing time, and you were in that process of deciding to go diamond. Do you remember this?
I do, Julie.
Everything's still all those kind of spinning wheels. And so tell us about that a little bit, that experience, and how that, what was it that was holding you back, and how did you just unleash yourself to make that happen?
Thanks. Well, I really appreciate what you said, Sherry, because I have this little, well, sometimes it's not very little, this voice that, I was conditioned as a child to be seen and not heard. And that was really hard for somebody like me, somebody like you, Julie. Can you imagine not being allowed to speak very much? And, it was very deeply embedded in the education system, in the family system, in everything, in advertising. And I look back now and I think, wow, we women have really, really pulled up our bootstraps and done amazing things by saying, that's not me. That's that overlay, if you like, that's that conditioning. And so I think the thing that holds me back is when I allow that conditioning to pop up. And when I feel my business was huge in the 90s, and then most of us had a shift in that. And it's taken me a while to really get back to believing firmly, and going diamond was a big thing for me. That was, I forget what year that was, 2000 and something, 12, I think. And it took a lot of overriding the subconscious mind and just believing and letting go. Like, I did not know where this was going to come from. And the magic that happened in that last week of December, a consultant on my team decided that he was going to help me, because I said, I put it out, this is what I need. And he called me and he said, I don't know. He said, I've got somebody in Saskatchewan that's looking at a sleep system. I'll let you know. 5 minutes later, he got back to me and said, it's done. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I am so grateful to you as a leader. I am going to order this sleep system. He has this huge family, right? I'm going to order this sleep system because I really want to be part of you going diamond. I was part of you going platinum. I was part of you going silver and gold. And, it was just like, wow, that was such a reminder to me that Providence does move when we allow it to. I'm my biggest, holdback, I think. And the last couple of years has been interesting, Julie, because I've had, these really brilliant times in Nikken. I know I'm an inspiring leader, and yet I get to this place where I'm too old for this shit. I sometimes just go, what am I doing? I'm 72 years old, and I just want to relax and enjoy my family, and I do that in spades, believe me. And then there's this little voice that says, that's not enough. Come on, get with the program. And I often flash back to a leadership event I went to. It was a whole week-long wilderness experience. And I'm sure you've been on these personal development challenges. And one of my biggest fears is water. I'm not a swimmer. I don't know how to swim. I know how to paddle around, but I don't know how to swim. And the challenge was to jump off a 30-foot cliff into raging ice-cold water in Alberta. And I said, this was one of the most amazing experiences. My logical head said, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. All the reasons why I couldn't. And then I had this sort of angel appear on the path as we're walking up to check out this jump off point. And she said, just imagine, and I think this has really stuck with me, and I hope it's helpful for others. Just imagine when you do this, not if, when you do this, what will that mean to you? What will it be a metaphor for in your life? And I thought about that, and I went, wow, that means I could do anything, right? So I remember standing on the edge of the cliff, and the guy was watching for rafts and things coming down, and I was just about ready to go to the edge of the cliff. And I mean, you can't use a life jacket, so here I am, non-swimmer, jumping off a 30-foot cliff and then have to swim back to shore. And I was ready, right? And then he said, oh, you can't go, there's a boat coming. But isn't that so true of life, right? Just when you think you're ready, something comes up. So anyway, finally, which was great because it gave me more time. I realized very, very clearly that when I was here in my head, fear ruled. I could think of all the reasons why I could not. When I went into my heart and I meditated and I knew my power, I knew I could. So I thought, that's the trick. I just need to be out of my head into my heart. So when it came time to do this, I'm sure we've all experienced this in other experiences, it was effortless. I went off that cliff. I don't even really remember jumping.
Wow.
I don't remember it. It wasn't long before I was into the water. And then the magical thing that happened then was that's when the fear hit, because I'm in the water and I go down so far. That was the surprise.
Hold on a minute, Maggie. 1 second. I just need to mute. Why is that not working?
I don't know. Lucy's line is still creating the problem.
Lucy, you need to mute your line. I'm trying to mute everyone so we can hear you. Okay, sounds better. Now, Maggie, you need to unmute yourself again. Yeah, thank you, love.
So that then, the surprise was, okay, now the real work begins, which I thought was fascinating too, because getting to shore was the biggest challenge, because not knowing how to swim and so on, and nobody was going to help. Like, I was on my own. I know they were watching vigilantly, but there were no boats in the water to rescue me or anything like that. The last part of that journey, from the time I jumped in until I actually got to shore, and I have steel rods in my back. It's very difficult for me to climb up a steep slope and stand up and all that. And I was numb because the water was so cold. And I did that with encouragement from the crowd, but I had to do it on my own. I was expecting this grand rescue from all these handsome, hulky men there who could just haul me out of the water and the princess arrives, right? Didn't happen. So that was probably even more powerful than the jump, because it's like moving to a new level in our business or accomplishing anything. The start isn't as hard as the finish. So the result of that experience, and I think I told that story on stage when I went Diamond, that it's about really claiming leadership.
Yeah.
Not just the easy parts, but the difficult parts. And the result for me has been that I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I let myself off the hook too much. I know that. However, when I'm in that power, I am unstoppable. And the results are great.
And you are, Maggie. You are. That is so beautiful. And I remember you telling us that story vividly when you went Diamond. And I can feel it now. And I'm sure everybody else can on the call. Let's go into the gallery view, because you can just feel like the adrenaline and the, oh my gosh, and the leap and the jump and the freezing cold and the I can't swim. And,
like, what have I done?
Yeah, that's a huge story, and I'm sure everyone has a story in life like that, where they've been a real hero in their own life, where they've done something they never, ever, ever thought they were capable of doing or would do. And so, I mean, we're almost out of time. There's something you said here that was also really good, that about the heart and the head. And I think sometimes power is also in the belly and the solar plexus. Solar plexus is a real seat of power. And also the belly, that belly feeling of like, I'm unstoppable. No one's going to get in my way on this one. I'm doing it, is very, very real. So also that success is not logical. Success is not rational. I think someone said to me the other day, well, what's a logical time frame for this? And I was like, success is not logical. And there's a great book that I read about that once. I don't remember what it was called, but it really was about that success, it doesn't just come from our head. It isn't a logical thing. You can set up any time frame you want to go to your next level in Nikken or do whatever you want. It's not about that, because it's not until you unleash this energy inside that it's going to happen. And that's when it's going to happen. And that's reminding me of one time, I know one of our leadership events, we had the thing of where we had to chop through the wooden block,
Yes,
and I remember vividly. Yeah, I remember it so vividly, because I remember I didn't want to do it from day. I mean, I wasn't like in my own psyche. I wasn't signed up for it. I didn't want to do it. I thought, this is a stupid thing. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. But I was in there because I should be in there. It was the right thing to be in the room with everybody else. So I was there as an unwilling participant.
Yeah.
And so when it came to doing the board, I couldn't do it. I was again and again, and I was already a diamond at that point, I think, going royal. And and everybody's like, what's the matter with you? Just break the board. But finally, I realized this is going to take all of me, and it's going to take my willingness. It's going to take an absolute yes in every part of my being to do it. And if I give it a yes in every part of my being, I know I'll do it. And so finally, I was so kind of annoyed and upset and embarrassed and ashamed, and you name it, I was feeling it, as we do when we're failing in front of others, which we often feel in Nikken. Oh, I'm failing in front of others. It's a horrible feeling. Nobody likes that. But finally, I was like, all right then. I was so mad. I was like, all right then, I'm going to do this thing. And of course, then I broke it. But I went back to my room and I really reviewed what had happened. And what I realized was that because I was an unwilling participant, even though everybody was egging me on, I, in my actual being, was back in my hotel room. I had actually run away. I wasn't even there. Does that make sense to any of you? I wasn't even present in the room, even though I was sort of there. And people were like, why can't you do this thing? And I was getting more and more embarrassed. But actually, I was back in my hotel room. And when I reflect on it, I was like, well, Julie, you were in your hotel room. You weren't even there trying to break a board. And it was a huge, huge aha for me. Like, oh, if I say I'm going to do something, like go platinum, diamond, roll down, whatever our thing is, I have to be all there, not just a bit of me there. And this is like having a baby. When you have a baby, you're like, oh my gosh, I mean, you mean you're asking me, when a midwife says, come on now, and you can do it, it's like, you mean you're asking for all of me, like all of my ability, all of my power? I've got to unleash everything. And they're like, yes. And you're like, oh, but I don't want to. That's the thing that's holding us back, because we're afraid to be that powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me really want to cry in a way, because, I think as women, we're so amazing. We're so incredible. We hold the world together. And yet we so are not sure of our actual power. We don't want to display it unless we absolutely have to. But if our child was under a truck, we'd pick up the damn truck to get the child out. We know we have phenomenal abilities, but we don't want to show anyone. We want to kind of create a game of like, no, not really. No, not me. No, don't count on me. Count on him. Count on her. Not me. And we all do it. So the beauty is that we all do it, and that we can love each other for our, Brene Brown wrote The Gifts of Imperfection. Sherry talked about perfection. The Gifts of Imperfection is a very powerful book, and we all understand we're in this together. We all have the shame factor. We all don't really want to be authentic. We all get scared. We all feel we're in front of everybody else failing. And really, we just sort of have to get over ourselves and go, you know what? Am I going to do it? So this is my life. My life is precious to me. Am I going to do what I feel guided to do? Help heal the world or not? I was on a call with someone the other day about mission, and she said, well, I want to have this and I want to have that in my life. And I was like, that's just not it. That's just not it. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. And finally, we got to this place where she said, really, I really want to heal the world. And then she said, but that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Who am I to say that? And I said, no, that's it right there. How do you feel when you say it? And she said, I want to cry. And she started to cry. And I also started crying. And I said, there is nothing wrong with wanting to heal the world, to save the world. Maybe that's what we came for. But we think we shouldn't say these things, or it's all too puffed up or whatever. No, that's your real power speaking. Because you have a specific purpose and a specific mission to bring to this world that nobody else can bring like you. No one can bring it the way you can bring it. And it's our job, I think it's incumbent upon us to bring it, because we'll accomplish our mission, we'll feel really fulfilled, we'll feel really, really joyful, we'll have helped many, many people. And it's good all the way around. There's nothing not good about what is accomplished when we really say yes and unleash ourselves. So that's the challenge. Somebody said to me late last night on a text, you like to be challenged. And I thought, no, I hate to be challenged. I hate being challenged. Don't challenge me. But then I really was thinking about it. I was like, well, I don't mind if I'm challenging myself. If I'm challenging myself, I'm all right with that. And in Nikken, that's what we do. We challenge ourselves. Somebody else might give you a challenge, but you really challenge yourself. So think about these stories. Are you off sitting in your bedroom while the conference call is going on? Or are you really there to chop through the board? Are you scared to jump because you're not sure you can get to shore? But it's the most exhilarating thing that probably has ever happened in Maggie's life. So the other side, what's on the other side? What's on the other side of all the fear and the breakthrough is freedom, is ultimately freedom. To realize that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and you're fabulous, gorgeous, brilliant, visionary, powerful, compassionate, and you're here to help our world to thrive. So that's our challenge. And thanks everybody for being on this call. I really love being with you. I know we need to stop because we're a little over time. So many blessings to everybody. And I can certainly unmute, and we can just all say goodbye. Just unmute and say hello, goodbye. Thanks
everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie. This was so timely.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so glad. And here's another book, Feminine Genius, for any of you that want to go grab that one, Feminine Genius. And that's all about unleashing yourself as well. And this one is The Rise of Superman, which is decoding the science of ultimate human performance. And that's what we're always looking at, is the human performance level. Is like, how can we really do better and knock the ball out of the park, to use a very masculine expression. But anyway, lots of love to all of you, and we'll see you on the Nikken Highway. All right.
Thanks, Joy.
Thanks so much.